Good morning, students. Welcome you all once again. As we were discussing about the second chapter, Lost Spring, Stories of Stolen Childhood. In our previous video, we had come to know that when the writer became acquainted with the children walking barefoot in her neighborhood, she concluded that being barefoot was not due to lack of money, but it had become a tradition. At the same time, the writer remembered a story about a man from Udupi. Udupi is a town in Karnataka. Once told her that now I am going to start the para. I remember a story a man from Udupi once told me. As a young boy, he would go to school past an old temple where his father was a priest. He would stop briefly at the temple and pray for a pair of shoes. 30 years later, I visited his town and the temple, which was now drowned in an air of desolation. In the backyard where lived the new priest, there were red and white plastic chairs. A young boy dressed in a grey uniform, wearing socks and shoes, arrived panting and threw his school bag on a folding bed. Looking at the boy, I remembered the prayer another boy had made to the goddess when he had finally got a pair of shoes. Let me never lose them. The goddess had granted his prayer. Young boys like the son of the priest now wore shoes. But many others, like the rag pickers in my neighborhood, remained shoeless. Students, desolation is used the state of being empty, alone, and panting is taking short and quick breaths or overbreathing. The writer narrates a story told to her by a man. He was from Udupi. Udupi, I have already told you, is a town in Karnataka. When he was a young boy, he would walk to his school. When he used to go to school, on the way, he would cross a temple where his father worked as a priest. He would stop at the temple and pray to God to bless him with a pair of shoes. After 30 years, the writer decided to visit the town, and when she reached over there and the temple now, the place was nearly empty. The new priest lived in the backyard of the temple. Plastic chairs that were of red and white color were kept there. Then suddenly a young boy came running. He was wearing grey colored school uniform, socks and shoes. He had a school bag hung on his shoulders. He threw it on the bed and ran away. The writer wants to say that the financial position of the priest at the temple had improved over the last 30 years. Now he could afford shoes for his children. She was reminded of another boy who got a pair of shoes. He prayed to the goddess that he may never lose the shoes that he had got. The goddess has granted his prayer as the boy never lost his footwear. This shows us that the unprivileged value anything that they get because they have been longing for it. Now we are moving to next para. My acquaintance with the barefoot rag pickers leads me to Simapuri, a place on periphery of Delhi yet miles away from it. Metaphorically, those who live here are squatters who came from Bangladesh back in 1971. Sahib's family is among them. Simapuri was then a wilderness. It still is, but it is no longer empty. In a structure of mud with roofs of tin and tarpaulin, devoid of sewage, drainage of running water, live 10,000 rag pickers. Acquaintance is a contact or familiar one, to become familiar to anyone. Periphery is the outer area or outskirt of any city. Metaphorically is symbolically or as a symbol. Squatters is used a person who unlawfully occupies an uninhabited building or unused land. Wilderness is wasteland. Tarpaulin is heavy duty waterproof of cloth. Students, now the writer describes the area where these rag pickers or the rag picker boy live. That is Simapuri. Located on the outskirts of Delhi, was very different from the capital of the country. In 1971, when these rag pickers had migrated from Bangladesh, the area had been wasteland. Simapuri was still a wasteland, but now it was not empty, as almost 10,000 rag pickers lived there in a structure made of mud with roofs made of thin sheets of tin or plastic material called tarpaulin. There was no sewage, drainage or running water facility in Simapuri. They lived in unhygienic condition. It was a piece of wasteland where the garbage of the city was collected. These people had started living there illegally. Students, as it has been told that 10,000 rag pickers are living in Simapuri, but this data is very old. I think this data has been taken 10 years before. Now the condition have been changed once I myself got the chance to visit that place, and I consider that more than 20,000 families are residing over there right now. So now we'll come to the next para. They have lived there for more than 30 years without an identity, without permits, but with ration cards that get their names on voters' lists and enable them to buy grain. Food is more important for survival than an identity. If at the end of the day we can feed our families and go to bed without an aching stomach, we would rather live here than in the fields that gave us no grain. Say a group of women in tattered saris when I ask them why they left their beautiful land of green fields and rivers, that was Dhaka. Permits is legal documents, as you know, and tattered is torn. The rag pickers had been living in Simapuri illegally for the last 30 years. They have occupied the area without government permission or ownership. The politicians of the area have provided them ration cards and voter identity cards. They got grocery for their family through these ration cards, and in return they cast their votes in favor of the politician who had helped them. The writer asked a group of women who were wearing torn saris, or it was having many holes, that why they leave their homes in Dhaka. Then they replied that if they were able to satisfy, or if they were able to quench their thirst or satisfy their hunger of their families and sleep well at night, they were more happier to live in Simapuri than their fields in Dhaka, which were ruined and gave them no food. Now the next para is, wherever they find food, they pitch their tents that become transit homes. Children grow up in them, becoming partners in survival. And survival in Simapuri means rag picking. Through the years, it has acquired the proportions of fine art. Garbage to them is gold. It is their daily bread, a roof over their heads, even if it is a leaking roof. But for a child, it is even more. Transit home is a temporary home. When you live in a tent, that is not permanent, that is temporary. Actually, these people traveled in search of food, and wherever they found it, they set up temporary homes and started living over there. And you have seen many families of gypsies also. They walk from one place to another, and they set up their house for some time at a particular place. Their children kept on growing there, and gradually they also started helping their parents in seeking means of survival. For those who lived in Simapuri, the means of survival was rag picking, because they were not having any other options. As they had been doing it for the last many years, they became trained at rag picking, and they are doing it well. For the rag pickers, the garbage was as precious as gold. These families searched the garbage dumps and got things which they sold to fund their food. They gathered torn or damaged sheets which were used to cover the roof of their homes. These did not cover them well, but still provided them with some protection or shelter. For the children, the garbage dumps were more than a means of survival. Now the next para is, I sometimes find a rupee, even a 10 rupee note. Sahib says, his eyes lighting up, when you can find a silver coin in a heap of garbage, you don't stop scrounging, for there is a hope of finding more. It seems that for children, garbage has a meaning different from what it means to their parents. For the children, it is wrapped in wonder. For the elders, it is a means of survival. Lighting up is show joy and happiness. Sahib was happy to say that sometimes he found a rupee and even a 10 rupee note in the garbage dump, as one often finds even a silver coin in the garbage dump. He kept on searching, hoping to find more. For the children, the garbage dump was a means of fulfilling their dreams, although or partially, while their parents, it was a means of aiding survival by providing the basics need, that is food, clothing and shelter. Okay students, the next part or the remaining part of the chapter we'll cover in the next video. Thanks for today.